Hayden,
Yes, Paul.
you might remember some time ago,
I'm unclear on the details.
I will give you some. About 6 or 7 years ago, the city made its first run at trying to make the city a little bit more dense, increase the residential density. And what they did was they tried to change the zoning bylaw so that instead of just building single-family homes in single-family neighborhoods, you could build duplexes.
Duplexes.
Now, some of you may have noticed the buttons out on the table outside or the counter outside. Those are free. You can take them. So this was very contentious. There were a lot of people who were very upset at the possibility that their neighborhood could have duplexes in it. And as a consequence, a lot of people came to city council. Now, one of those delegations, I'm going to play the clip for you.
It's a QCIB classic.
Where we live, every home is a single detached home. I've lived on that same block and same house for 38 years. It's not a high traffic area, it's not a dense area in terms of accommodation, so people take care of their properties. I don't want to be pounded by duplexes and semi-detached and neighbors that would add granny shacks on the back and bring in other families. I don't want that. So.
Pounded by duplexes.
Granny shacks in the back. It's a weird, dirty mullet of a housing plan.
That phrase haunted me for years. What could being pounded by a duplex possibly mean?
What would it even look like?
So you may recall, finally, the stress was too much. And 2 years ago, I finally, I sat down and in a fever, I wrote a novel. Pounded by duplexes, how I went from NIMBY to YIMBY. And we premiered that novel here because you read an excerpt from my novel.
It was life-changing.
On this stage.
It was humiliating and life-changing. I loved it.
And it was a little horny.
But then,
a year later, you...
also stressed and also in a fever, wrote my novel and made Paul read an excerpt, and it was hornier.
It was very horny. So that was the sequel. Well, Aiden, I haven't got the pounded by duplex juices out of me yet.
But by the by, the second one was called Pounded by Duplexes, Laneway Loving.
I've written a threequel.
Woo!
Aiden has not seen this. I wrote this. When I pass it to him, it will be the first time he sees the words on these pages. Would you do me the honors? Thank you, Aiden.
What the hell? All right.
I was feeling very inspired.
Wow. Okay. There, I already see a Halloween theme. From NIMBY to YIMBY 3, A Nightmare on Density Street. By Randy Urban.
It's our joint pen name.
Oh, yes. That's who it is. And, it starts off, classy, with a quotation. He who fights with NIMBYs should be careful, lest he thereby become a NIMBY. That's by Friedrich NIMBY.
No, it is by Friedrich Nietzsche. It is from Beyond Good and Evil. And NIMBYs.
Okay, let's get started. Oh, what a difference a couple of years can make. My name is Brian White. I'm 50-something but fit. The ladies at Aquarobics like the way I float. My shelves are heavy with pickleball trophies. Maybe you've heard of me? Once upon a time, development proposals filled me with anger and fear. New construction was my enemy. If city administration was compiling community comment, no matter the topic, nice alliteration, no matter the topic, I stood firmly in the negative column. But not anymore. Not after my amorous urban adventures. My eyes have opened to the joys of denser urban forms. Okay. Over the last 2 years, I've dallied with duplexes, trifled with triplexes, fallen for a few fourplexes, been swept off my feet by laneway suites. I've made merry with more multi-unit domiciles than I can muster to memory. Retirement has been treating me well. I feel like a teenager again. And as I've shared my story, word has gotten out in all the right circles. Brian White, he's thirsty for infill. Maybe that's why I was invited to be a keynote speaker at the 2025 Missing Middle Housing Symposium, which was being held, ironically, as far away as you could get from the compact urbanism I'd grown to love, out in the woods at the Crystal Lake Corporate Retreat and Spa. It was like summer camp for city planners. Things were going great. Our first night, we drank craft beer and bespoke kombucha around a crackling fire, while Ufelt, a placemaking consultant from the Netherlands, played selections from A Marvelous Order, the Jane Jacobs musical, on his acoustic guitar. After a few hours of this, I went off into the woods to get some fresh air and collect my thoughts before my speech the following day. That's when I heard movement in the bushes behind me. A branch snapped, the leaves rustled. A shadow fell darkly upon me. I turned. "Who's there?" I shouted. "It's just me," came a voice from among the trees, a tone that rumbled with promise. Okay, do that again. "It's just me." "Show yourself," I said. "Sure," he said. "I've nothing to be ashamed of." And out of the shadows stepped 6 stories of magnificence. So tall, so densely packed, a single staircase running right to the top. But this picture of residential virility was built upon the tautest little footprint. Like nothing I'd ever seen before. Unimaginable, unattainable. "Are you?" "No," I gasped. "Say it, Brian," he replied. "Are you a point access block?" I whispered. "In the flesh," he said. "But you're impossible," I stammered. "Under the current zoning, I mean. What is zoning, really, except a way to keep you from the things you desire?" "But a medium-density, mid-rise apartment building on a lot typically reserved for a single-family home without secondary egress through to the top floors, the fire code would never allow it." "So outdated," he scoffed. I stared into his windows, drank deep of the way they allowed light and air into every room. "Your units," I gasped. "Some have 3 bedrooms. I could start a family with you." "Ah, you don't have to," he purred. "I'm all about residential flexibility." I fell then into his mass timber construction. It had a fire rating even better than concrete. I felt so safe, so comfortable. I closed my eyes, abandoned my municipal inertia. My zoning code opened wide. And then I heard a crash, felt a rush of air as though something hard and sharp passed millimeters from my cheek. There was a scream. Maybe it was mine, I did not know. My eyes snapped open at that moment, and I beheld my beautiful point axis block mangled in my arms. Its top 4 stories sliced neatly off, nothing left behind except a gruesome stump, a limp, stacked duplex. And there in the grass lay the murder weapon, a bloody parking study. Crude and deadly. I looked up from my ruined paramour and saw his murderer. I could make out no features. It was just an ominous silhouette against the night that said nothing. Who could it be? Silently, it observed my pain, my despair, such promise cut down before me. But I must have been in shock. For once I finally roused myself to action, the murderous interloper had disappeared into the trees, and I knew not where it had gone. Paul, this is kind of long. So I'm gonna skip ahead here just a second. Violence, porn. So. You're a sick man, Deshane. Okay, let's get to the end here. I spied the masked figure from my hiding spot, its hands still dripping gore from the planned group of dwellings it had just cut to ribbons. Your reign of terror ends here, I hissed between gritted teeth and sprang upon the monstrous form, landing on it from behind. I drove the rolled-up set of development guidelines deep into its back. It howled in pain and terror as the relevant claws I'd sharpened to a deadly point pierced its hollow, bitter heart. It fell to the ground, powerless, and as I felt the fiend go limp beneath me, I flipped it over. Why did you do it? I screamed in its face. They just wanted to provide housing, somewhere for people to live, raise families, age in place. They were an aberration, and you know it, the figure beneath me coughed. They were ruining community, character, property values would crater. Who are you? I growled as I ripped the bozo of the clown mask from its face. And to my horror, I was staring directly into my own eyes. What a twist. I write all this to you from, is it a padded cell? In an asylum? No, it's a breakout session at a community engagement meeting for the official community plan update. Same difference. I don't know what's next for me, or maybe I do. I look around at the flipboards where people have stuck their comments on little colored sticky notes. Another master plan slouches towards its shelf. Nothing changes in the Queen City.
Excellent reading. Thank you, sir.